So, Kid and Shanks fans, we need to have a discussion. A battle of epic proportions is about to unfold, but there are some very key factors that we need to take a look at going into this that I don't believe many people are accounting for, and it all comes down to hockey. There's going to be a lot to unpack here. Some pros and cons from both corners of the boxing ring, and there are some very important takeaways from Wano we need to recap on really quick to establish a foundation to Kid versus Shanks. So let's break it down. Now, going back to early Wano, there are a few lines from Kaido that we need to address when it comes to the upcoming battle between our two red-haired wonders. In chapter 913, after Luffy gets knocked out by Kaido before being imprisoned, Luffy uses his Conqueror's Haki and Kaido states that Kid Brat also has the color of the Supreme King. So, we know that Kid also has Supreme King Haki. That's definitely a pro in his corner. But let's go a little further into Wano now to Roof Piece and the rest of Onigashima. Fast forward all the way to 1001. Luffy's Red Rock attack on Kaido was Kid's first experience seeing Kaido damaged by a physical attack. Keep in mind, Luffy is focused on Ryo at this point, and Kid didn't receive the same training Luffy did to learn how to do that. Understanding Ryo was the first step in advancing your Conqueror's Haki to a flow state to do internal damage to an opponent. After that, Kaido makes a very bold top 5 in his strongest opponents. We get Roger, Whitebeard, Rocks, Odin, and Shanks. Notice that Big Mom is not among the list of his quote, scant few capable of fighting me. Now, let's skip ahead to chapter 1010. Luffy has found it. The key to advancing their Conqueror's Haki to a point where they can use it to damage another top tier. He learns that Kaido and Big Mom infuse their Conqueror's Haki around themselves to protect them from normal physical attacks. Advanced Conqueror's Haki is the key that Kid needs to be able to contend with Shanks for this upcoming battle. But that's the thing. Where in the entirety of Wano arc does Kid display his ability to use Conqueror's Haki? There isn't a point during the arc where we see Kid use it on either fodder in a manner to knock them unconscious. He never learned the concept of Ryu, which was obvious at the beginning of Roof Piece, and because he never learned and understood Ryu, he wasn't able to use that technique to alter his Conqueror's Haki in an advanced state. During the fight with Kid, Law, and Big Mom, he relied almost entirely on his Devil Fruit abilities to throw the Big Mother around and knock things into her. Now, keep in mind, Law also relied on his Devil Fruit abilities to fight against Big Mom. However, the difference was Law's attacks also inflict damage internally. Think Shock Willy and Gamma Knife, for example. Attacks like that would bypass the coding top tiers like Kaido, Big Mom, and Shanks use on themselves to protect them. Now, the Kid portion aside, we're in Elbaf. We're in Elbaf now. We're here. Two Piece has begun, or Giant Piece, with the Giant Kid, and it was adorable. Honestly, seeing the big old Viking Kid pouting over not being able to join Chief Shanks' crew was just something that was really endearing to me. And it made me read back on chapter 1 just to have some more nostalgia. We also find out that it's implied Beckman was the one who took Kid's arm during their last run-in with Kid's crew. I still enjoy the meme that it was Monster that took it, because the idea that a crazed ape is a part of making the red-haired pirates the most balanced Yonko crew in a power level sense is just it's hilarious. And that he's the one who prevented Kid from even seeing Shanks makes Kid look like a big old court jester. Now, I know that's probably not the case, and that it really was just Beckman that took it, but I digress. I'm going to keep enjoying the meme. Now, after Shanks receives word that Kid has begun fighting their forces, we get a very well-deserved return from some pretty lovable big guys. Of course, I'm talking about Dorian Broggy, back again after over 900 chapters with just a super wholesome reappearance, and it's no surprise that they're also friends with Shanks as well. The double spread we get of Shanks and his officers, the Giant Kid, and the giants in the background was just chef's kiss. Like, Oh my god, it's finally happening. Now, the fact that Shanks wants to give Kid the ultimatum of leaving his load poneglyph rubbings or risk death by fighting him is really putting another nail in his coffin. So how do we honestly think this is going to play out? Because Killer's adamant about trying to talk Kid out of fighting Shanks. He stated last time that they didn't even make it to him and he lost an arm. They won't settle for an arm this time, they'll take your life instead. Now, Shanks is seemingly, but very convincingly, the most powerful and advanced user of Conqueror's Hockey. Kid couldn't even take down Big Mom by himself, and keep in mind, we did not get a panel with a definitive death of Big Mom. She got TKO'd at best. The chutzpah Kid is displaying for this is outrageous. It's respectable. I'll give him props where he deserves it, but it's beginning to borderline blind cockiness. He says they'll take his life only if he loses. Like, bro, only if you lose, are you even gonna get out of there alive? The way I see it, there's only one way our red-headed devil makes it out of this alive or otherwise. And that's if the giants aiding Shanks with damage control recognize Kid and realize he was the one who aided in taking down Big Mom from her status as Emperor. In recognizing him, they might petition with Shanks to spare Kid's life so they could meet him. As for how that meeting will go, well, that feels like another video entirely. So, is this the end of Kid, the last arc in his life? Seeing the break next week almost physically hurt. We are so close to seeing Shanks in action, and we have to keep waiting? Well, keep waiting for canon manga Shanks action, so I'm not talking about Film Red, that aside. Though I can't imagine the fighting style and abilities will be much different. I need to see this man absolutely body someone, and not off screen. But what kind of thoughts are you guys having? Do you guys think Kid's going to make it out of this alive? Are we going to lose Killer? Do you think Kid is actually going to get some licks in? And if you actually think Kid could give Shanks another scar like some people are arguing, I'm curious. What's your reasoning? So leave me what you're thinking down below in the comments section. If you enjoyed the topic, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and slap that post notification bell for updates on upcoming videos. And as for that, I hope you all have a wonderful night.